Greetings, family. Welcome to another edition of Black Talk Radio, where black media matters and black life certainly matters. Today is Monday, July 23rd, 2018. Family, this video is a follow-up to the video I did the other day of this case involving Marquise McLaughlin, who was killed by a white supremacist racist named Michael Drecka in Clearwater, Florida. This video, though, is to highlight the incompetency and the idiocy of the sheriff's department, mainly Bob Gualtieri, right here, who is doing this news conference. Now, right off the top, when I watched this news conference, the first thing I thought was, this man right here is a KKK member. He just isn't wearing his pointy hat and his white sheets. That's exactly what I felt. He is definitely giving the media all the great white racist talking points when it comes to explaining this situation. But let me just state, I didn't like the way he first started off coming out saying, quote, before we go through the facts of this, number one, you're not even covering any facts. So what are you talking about? You guys didn't do any fact finding to cover any facts. What you did was you heard the one side of Michael Drecka, the white racist, and you went with that. That's exactly why you allowed him to go home and there's no justice. Because you did that. You guys run a romper room type justice system down there in Florida. But I'm not surprised something is clearly in the water, because you guys have major issues in that state constantly. It's like a bad curse that's been placed on Florida, and I wouldn't be surprised. And I'm not going to even delve into that. I just know your history. Florida. But nonetheless, this degenerate right here, who is dressed up in a sheriff's uniform, wearing a sheriff's badge, this racist right here is so despicable. When I listened to his news conference, all I could just listening to his little bird lips move, every little word that came out, he was full of just poo-poo, full of it. So he first starts off by saying that people have a right to stand their ground and defend themselves when they believe they are in harm. Now, let's talk about that for a minute. Because the video clearly shows that Michael Drecka went up to the car of Brittany Jacobs, Marquise's girlfriend. So he clearly went up to the car. So the principle that people have a right to stand their ground and defend themselves applies to Marquise McLaughlin, who was actually defending his family, his girlfriend, and his child. That point is a point that none of these racists even acknowledge. That's because they don't want to acknowledge the humanity in black people, since we are the true human beings of the planet. Yep, I'm gonna sidetrack for a second. You know the word hue, H-U-E? That means color. You put that together with the word man, you get color man. That means you, Sheriff Bob Gualtieri, that means you're not so human. It means that you're something else. We already know that you're mixed with Neanderthal, but it just means that you're not so human. So your lack of humanity is why it's easy for you to not see the humanity in a black man, a true human being, because you lack humanity. You lack it. And most of you lack it. So I say that if you have a stand your ground and people have a right to stand your ground and defend themselves, then acknowledge the fact that Marquise McLaughlin was standing his ground. He was defending his girlfriend. There was a white terrorist outside their car yelling and screaming at her. Even all the witnesses that drove up saw it. We're going to get to the video in a second because, boy, I got some exposing to do. I have some exposing to do. I'm going to get to that. Anyways, this creature right here, this so-called sheriff, this Klan member here, he goes into describing the events. And it's funny because he's getting ready to show the video footage in a second, but before he does that, he decides that he's going to narrate it before you look at it, so that way you kind of get a gist of what's happening and you can see it through his interpretation before you actually judge it on your own merit. See, these racists, they do shenanigans like that. They prep you up and they try to influence your thought. They try to influence your thought process. They try to influence the way you see things. They want you to see it the way they do. And that I cannot do. So he goes into describing the video. And it's funny because before he goes into that, he tells the crowd there, the people in the audience, oh, you'll see the video, but I'm going to characterize it. That's the word he used. I'm going to characterize it. And so he describes how Marquise McLaughlin arrives at the Circle A convenience store with his girlfriend, Brittany Kkkops. And that's how he described it. He said he arrives at the store with his girlfriend, Brittany Kkkops. And then the next sentence he says, you'll see Marquise take his son in the store. But you just described that they arrived at the store and you didn't even say that the son was with them. So you see, this sheriff is already starting off so foul and so wrong. It's hard to even believe what he says because he can't even get his facts straight. Even though he says in the beginning, before we go through the facts of this, no, you don't have any facts. That's the whole point. You don't have any facts. And so he describes how they pull up into the parking lot. And then he says how they parked in a handicapped spot. Then he says how Michael Draken, a 47-year-old frequent customer of the store. So, listen, they knew of this devil. They knew this devil had issues of other people parking in the handicap zone. They knew that this man was a problem all along, and they did nothing. You see, they were at the donut shop. The police always do nothing, but yet they say, we're doing our jobs. No, you're only protecting and serving white people with money. You're only protecting and serving them. You are not protecting and serving black people. That is the biggest myth you guys tell black people. No, we need to tell the truth and expose you evil beings for who you are. We need to expose you every time too. So that's what I'm doing. So they knew this Michael Drecka was a problem, and that this Michael Drecka had issues with people parking in the handicap zone. Now, mind you, the handicap zone at a store that does not belong to him. He feels this Michael Drecka person was obviously always feeling entitled over black people. Because we're going to get into another witness where Michael Drecka threatened him. We're going to get to that. But for now, I want to stay in my lane, which way I'm going with this. So the sheriff says that there were no physical threats or they were just yelling at each other. It's like this sheriff is believing everything from the racist Michael Drecka, because he's obviously not getting a full picture when he says that there is no physical threats or just yelling at each other, because again, he didn't really do any real fact finding. We're finding out different things from the girlfriend, and I'm sure she's shaken because, she's probably terrified from the KKK police down there. But they knew about this guy. This guy had already, Michael Drecka I'm talking about, had already threatened another brother about 3 or 4 months ago. His name was Bell. I'm going to give you the name of him too, because he came forward and spoke about Michael Drecka and said, yes, about 4 months ago, I was at this store. Michael Drecka did the same thing to me, except he threatened my life then and there. He said he would shoot me. And so here comes this Klans member, Bob Gualtieri, sheriff, this Klans member trying to tell people and trying to tell the media that there was no physical threats made, just yelling at each other. You don't know that. You're just banking all your information on what another racist said, and you believed him wholeheartedly. This is a problem anyways. This is exactly why I hope the Justice Department investigates and they lock this butthole. I hope they lock him up, take his badge away. Now this creature, this sheriff, goes into describing the event where Marquise is coming out of the store. And he says it appears that Marquise exits the store and he walks straight to Michael Drecka. Well, of course, because he's going to the threat that is against his girlfriend in the car and the kids in the car. He's going after the threat. Marquise McLaughlin is standing his ground, which you are denying. You're denying his humanity. You are denying his ability to stand his ground. You're not seeing it that way because you're looking at it just from a racist standpoint through a white eyes, instead of looking at this saying, well, wait a minute, why was Michael Drecka harassing them anyways? It's not like he owns that store. It's not like it's his parking lot. So what is the purpose of that? Yeah, that's why this case is not an open and shut case, because Drecka does not own the store. It's not his parking lot, and you don't kill someone over a parking stall either. You don't do that. That's called murder. So again, the sheriff, he goes into this whole thing about, well, yeah, the video speaks for itself, but let me characterize it. And so he goes into this description about how Marquise steps out of the store and walks up to Michael Drecka, and he says he pushes him. He goes, but wait a minute. He doesn't just push him. He slams him violently to the ground. He slams him violently. This isn't just a push. He shoves him real hard into the ground. This is what this little weasel of a sheriff had to say. And we all saw the video, and it's just not that way. See, this is how they lie, though. They lie. They're trying to characterize it their way when the video clearly shows you the truth. But this so-called man is sitting here lying. So he starts off saying McLaughlin pushed him, but then he says, but it's not really a push. It's really a slam. He slammed him with great force. These are his words. And we all saw the video. So then this weasel has to remind us how Drekka is a concealed carrying permit holder. And that he was in fear. He felt that he would be slammed into the ground again. And that's why he took out his gun and shot and killed, i.e. murdered, Marquise McLaughlin. Because he feared that he'd be slammed into the ground again, when that wasn't even the case. So, family, I'm about to play the video because I got some exposing to show you. But after this video, further into the news conference, and I'm not going to even comment much more on it, but after the video, this little weasel goes into constantly repeating the fact that it was a violent shove. It was a violent slam to the ground. That's how he describes the event that took place. And we all know that isn't the truth. White people love to lie. They just love to lie. But family, I'm going to show you the video because there's some telling points of this video. Very telling. I want you to see this. Okay, look how they first start off with this. They start off kind of far away, but look at the parking lot. Look at how it's empty right in front of the store. You see and look at that truck leaves, and there is his truck already parked there. He had the ability to park in any one of the stalls right in front of the door, but instead he sits in his car. Now the other spots are available. Now I want to just point that out to you because in the other videos and in the other clips, we just see the fact that it's already cars there. But no, I want you to see those are empty spaces. If he's disabled, if he's handicapped, he could have pulled right in front of the front door. But instead, he chose to go looking for trouble. And this is what he's doing right now. He is giving her a hard time right now. Instead of minding his business or calling the police, this is where he goes wrong. And now other cars start pulling up. Now you see the other cars are starting to pull up. So he had the ability to move his funky truck right in front of the door if he was so bothered about someone parking in the handicap zone. This is why this is premeditated murder. He purposely did this. He's done it before, but this is an example of just how he carries out his actions. But this time, he actually had a chance to murder a black man. And he got away with it because look at other people. They're like looking like, what is he doing? Because he's screaming and he's yelling at them like he's the store owner. It's like, what? He's starting. Look at this other guy. He's like, this other guy's sitting there looking. I look at him. He's sitting there looking. He's like looking through the window like, what's wrong? Like, what's his problem? And now look at this lady even. She's like looking like, what's going on here? That man was looking to murder some black people. So here comes Marquise. This is where Marquise is standing his ground. He's saying, who is this? And watch. And see, and look, they turned it away because they didn't want you to see the truth and reality. Look how, did you see how they just panned the camera? This is so disgusting, family. I don't even know what to say. All I can tell you is I understand why Malcolm X called these people devils. I honestly do now. I honestly understand why Malcolm X called them devils. Now, I would like to know is why all these devils always have to come to black channels. If you idiot white folks don't like black people so much, why are you coming to our channels? Why do you even have to put a comment? Don't you know we care less of hearing from you? You think you're that special that we want to hear from you? We don't. I'd prefer you not leave a message, honestly. You guys are so pathetic. And you're liars. And that's why I have no time for you. I can't even entertain you because you're liars and I don't put up with that. I don't waste my time with liars and people who speak with half-truths and racists. So I'm just done. I'm done, and actually, that's the end of this video. I really just wanted you guys to see how the parking lot was empty at a point in time, and he could have moved right in front of this door. This cop, this sheriff, is defending racism. Shame on you, you racist pig.